Well, namaste. Good morning to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a few moments to become present. Find a nice, comfortable seated position where your spine and back of your neck can sit very tall and straight, opening up your chest, opening up your diaphragm, and opening up your heart. So gently close your eyes. Soften your thoughts. Soften your eyes. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is the fact that we're in a new Ayurvedic season. So as a refresher, Ayurveda is an ancient health system about 5,000 years old that focuses on three doshas or three energies, the vata, the pitta, and the kapha. All three of these energies are present in each one of us in varying levels, and it's determined by our mind and our body and our spirit. There's quizzes that if anybody wants to take a quiz, I found some other quizzes that might be fun for you to take besides the one that I've been putting out there. So let me know if you want to take a different type of quiz. The goal of the science, Ayurveda, is to keep you in balance. And that is, it's like a yin yang thing. So if you are excessive in one dosha, you want to minimize that or neutralize that, bring you back into balance. And that's done through what you eat and other emotional and physical well-being routines. Doshas can be applied to other things. There are dosha seasons, and late winter, early spring, which we're just kind of on the depending on where you are in North America, that starts earlier or starts later. But I think beginning of March is for Vermont a really good spot to be when you're describing late winter, early spring, as we will see tomorrow when the rain comes and then the snow will come back and then the rain will come back and blah, blah, blah. So that is Kapha season. And Kapha is governed by the elements of earth and water. Its characteristics are cold, wet, and heavy. Think mud season. So to create balance, that's what Ayurveda is all about. So you create balance in Kapha season, you would do things that are opposite in nature. They should be stimulating. So if you are kind of a routine person, maybe break up that routine or have some spontaneity in that you either go to a restaurant, which we're getting closer to be comfortable in, or to have a takeout from a different restaurant, but do something that's out of your routine, that can stimulate you. Do something that's energizing. I snowshoe every morning, so that's kind of a clump, 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 heavy, heavy thing. And trying to incorporate something a little bit more brisk in my exercise routine, which be like cross-country skiing, if the snow permits. And something warming, and that's either eating something warming, but also doing something with your body that really makes your body warm. So a brisk exercise, again, would be really good. And then detoxifying, because you want to get rid of that heaviness. You want to go to the opposite direction. So in detoxifying, you often think of eating, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more next week. But in general, the foods that you want to eat this time of year to offset that heaviness and wet and cold feeling are things that are bitter, like asparagus and leafy greens, spinach, astringent, like legumes, and pungent in spices. And take your cues from Mother Nature. So again, asparagus is starting to become more in season. So that would be a good, and leafy greens and spinach and all that spring vegetable, that would be really good to start lightening your diet right now. So for this morning's pranayama, our breathing technique, guide you through the Sama Vritti, which is an equal length breath. It's all about balance. It's the yin yang. It's balancing the opposite of the inhale and the exhale, so in equal portion. So let's begin that. So you just start with your normal breath, and then incorporate that full breath where it would come from your stomach on up through your ribs, on up to your chest, that complete breath, dirja breath. So start with a couple of nice big inhales there and exhales. Just kind of get in touch with that breath coming from your stomach, up through your ribs, up to your chest, and then exhaling, having it flow away from your chest, flow away from your ribs, and flow away from your stomach. And then I'm going to layer on top of that the equal length count. So I'm going to count to 4 for the inhale and count to 4 for the exhale. And I'll do that. And then after a while, I'm going to stop counting. And if you find your count is different than that 4, please use that. Typically, I like to do a count of 6. That seems to be comfortable for my full, complete breath and inhale and exhale. So let's start with the count of 4, and then I'll drop off and you can continue either with the 4 or your own count. So inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to drop off now and continue. You may open your eyes and return to your normal breath. And for this morning's meditation, you can use the mudra Prana, which is an energizing mudra. And what it does, it brings the fire, the earth, and the water elements, which are present in your fingers together. And then your index and your middle finger just kind of keep straight up. So it's bringing your pinky, your ring finger, and your thumb together, which is the fire, earth, and water, and keeping air and ether heading up. So that is an energizing prana. So you can use that in your meditation, or just any mudra that you like, or just place your hands on your knees. And we'll do that for a few moments, and I'll meet you on the mat. You may open your eyes now, and we'll begin our asana practice. We'll start by doing some seated sun breaths. So bringing your fingertips to the mat alongside you. Then take a deep inhale, bring our hands up overhead, and exhale, bringing them down. Deep exhale down. And think about that even count when you're bringing them up. And that even count when you bring them down. Just have a nice, even flow to your arms. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. So to balance the Kapha season, those wet, heavy, cool elements, we want to, and the earth and the water, those elements, basically mud season, we want to incorporate fire and air. So think of warmth and buoyancy and space and stimulation and spontaneity. And we're going to keep things light. And while you're doing your practice this morning, think of how you can make each pose light. Just usually like with Warrior 2, we kind of really connect with the earth and ground into the mat and bring that earthiness to our feet. But we want to be light and airy for this practice. So whatever pose you're in, just think of lightness and airiness and space and warmth, kind of the opposite of grounding down into the earth. So let's do some seated sun twists. So again, bring our fingertips to the side. Inhale, bringing them up. And then turn to the left, bring your hands down. Your right hand comes onto your left knee, your left hand comes behind your hips. And then inhale, come up, sweeping across and turning to the right, bringing your hands down, left hand on your right knee, right hand behind your hips. And then we'll just keep doing this, kind of flow through the movement, keeping it light and airy. Just think of those words as your mantra today. And inhale, come back up, sweep over to the right. Inhale, come back up, sweep over to the left. Inhale, come back up. Light and floating, come back down. Inhale, come back up. One last time, over to the left. We'll return to center. We'll bring our arms out at shoulder height. We're going to do some shoulder circles. So try to keep your shoulders nice and light and loose, relaxed. And we're going to start with our circles being very small. And then as time goes on, just increase the size of the circle. And you can slow down or keep the same momentum in the circle. And just keep getting larger and larger and larger until you're sweeping all the way up and all the way down. And then relax your hands, just kind of shake it out. Now we're going to actually do the reverse direction and start with our big circles coming down to the small circles. So whatever direction you were going before, go the opposite direction. And start big. And work your way down to smaller circles. Feeling that air all around your hands and arms. And then relax your arms and shake it out. We're going to roll down on our backs now, so you can roll down one vertebrae at a time, slow-mo or express method, either way. And bring your knees to your chest and give them a nice gentle hug. Maybe rock back and forth a little bit and give your lower back a nice massage. And then with your lower back connecting to the mat, we're going to bring our hands behind our head and just rest our head on the hands. And we're going to extend our right leg out at a 45-degree angle from the mat, or maybe a little higher, whatever feels comfortable for you so that you can keep your lower back on the mat. And then bring that right leg back in, knees to chest, and then extend the left leg out. And then bring that back in. And continue on, extending your right leg out, bringing that back in, extend your left leg out, and bring that back in. And you can go at whatever pace works for you. You can go slow or have it a little bit faster. Create some heat and warmth. in your legs. And then bring your both feet down to the mat so the soles of your feet are on the mat. Keeping your head on your hands, we're going to raise our right foot up to the sky. Left knee is bent with the knee pointing up to the sky. And then we're going to send our right foot out at a 1 o'clock position, then 2 o'clock position, and then 3 o'clock position, if you can. I think I get to about 2:45 or 2:30, somewhere around there. I don't get to 3 o'clock. And then bring it back to 2 o'clock, and then back to 1 o'clock, and back to noontime or 12 o'clock. Bring that leg down. We'll do that on the other side. So with your left foot, extend the sole of your left foot up to the sky. Your right leg is bent with the sole of your right foot on the mat. And then we'll send the left foot out to 1 o'clock, then 2 o'clock, and then 2:30, 2:45, 2:50 maybe. No, I think we're at 2:30. And then back up to 2 o'clock, back up to 1 o'clock, and back up to 12 o'clock. And bring that leg down. Then we'll come up on our hands and knees, so you can do that by either rolling up or turning to the side and making your way up. Come up onto your hands and knees. Into tabletop, our shoulders right above our wrists. Hands are splayed out, making a lot of space between your fingers. Knees are right below your hips, navel's tucked to the spine. We're going to send our right leg to the back of the mat, to the bottom of the mat, and then send it over to the left side of the mat so that the toes are on the floor off the mat. And then turn your head so that you're like shaking no. Turn it to the left side and then gaze back to your left foot. Oops, right foot, to your right foot on the left side. And then bring your right foot back to tabletop. We'll do that on the other side. Extend your left leg all the way to the bottom of the mat. Then take your left toes, bring them over to the right side of the mat so that the toes are off the mat onto the floor. Then turn your head no to the right side, and then send your gaze back to your left foot. And then bring that foot back to tabletop. We'll do some cat-cows. So we're going to round our back with a deep exhale, tucking our tailbone and our head down. Then inhale, lift your head and your tailbone up. Exhale, rounding your back. Tucking your head and tailbone down. Create space underneath you. And then lift your head and tailbone up. Feel like you're going into the wind. Exhale, rolling or rounding your back, tucking your tailbone down, head down. Inhale, lifting your head and tailbone up. Exhale, rounding your back. And one last time, inhale, lifting your head and tailbone up. And then re-establish your tabletop. Make sure you're equal pressure on your hands, creating stability in your hands and creating space between your shoulders and your ears. Bring your knees together and then extend your right leg out at hip height, keeping your hip bones parallel to the mat. And then extend your left arm out to the front of the mat for bird dog. For inhale, we're going to point our toes, and exhale, flex our toes so that they're pointing down. Inhale, point, exhale, flex. 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 Inhale, point, exhale, flex, and then bring the hand and the knee back down. Reestablish your balance in your hands so that your weight's equally distributed. Extend your left leg up to hip height and be sure that your hips are parallel to the mat. And then bring your right arm up, pointing to the top of the mat. And point your toes, inhale, flex, exhale, point, 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 inhale, flex, exhale, and bring it all back down. We're going to lower our hips to our ankles, stretching our arms out in front for child's pose. You can have your own favorite child's pose, either wide-legged child's pose or your legs tucked underneath. Just kind of give your spine a nice long stretch. Keeping those mantra words of light and then come back up. We tuck our toes under and walk our hands back to the squat and then push down in our toes coming up to mountain. So our toes will be pointing toward the straight edge of the mat. Legs are nice and strong. Knees have a gentle bend in them. Navel's tucked to our spine. Spine is nice and long and straight. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of the head is reaching to the sky. And we'll sweep our hands up overhead. Big inhale, and then exhale, bending our knees, bringing our hands down to the floor, down to the mat. And just take a second or two to check in with yourself. Feeling any tension? Feeling how your body feels today? Is it feeling heavy? Is it feeling light? Then inhale, bring your hands up to your shins, straightening out your back. Gaze is sent down. Half forward fold. And then exhale, forward fold, bringing the crown of your head down toward the mat. And then inhale, keeping your knees gently bent, sweeping your hands all the way up from the floor up overhead. And then come up onto our tippy toes for palm tree. And this, you can create a real light and airy floating type of pose. This one really just Feel the lightness and the airiness. It's kind of the opposite of when we go into fall, where everything is blowing around. Now everything is just kind of stuck to the earth, and we want that breeziness back. We want that nice floating feeling back. And then sweep our hands back down to the floor, bending our knees all the way down. Inhale, halfway up, half forward fold, straightening out our back. Nice flat back, nice straight spine, opening up our chest. Exhale, send the crown of our head down to the mat. And then inhale, sweeping our hands from the floor all the way up overhead, bringing our palms together. And then sending our right hand down to our right thigh, sliding it down toward our right knee for supported side stretch. Inhale, come back up. Bring our right hand back up, meeting the left. Bring the left hand down, slide that down toward your knee. Side stretch to the left. Inhale, come back up. We'll do that one more time each side. Right hand comes down, slide it down to your right knee. Inhale, come back up. And then the left hand comes down and slide that down to your knee. Inhale, come back up. Sweep our hands back down to the floor, bending our knees as we come down. Forward fold. And then 2 half forward fold, bringing your hands to your shin, straightening out your back to a nice flat back, elongating your spine, opening your chest. Then exhale, forward fold, crown of your head goes down toward the ground. And then we'll sweep our hands from the floor all the way up overhead, and then bring them down to our sides. We're going to do kind of a chair squat, and this is something that you can do if you can't get outside and do a brisk walk for the snow, but it's kind of a cross-country ski movement, but it's indoors and you can go as fast as you want, and it really works up the heat. So we're going to come down into chair pose. So we're bringing our hips down toward our ankles and sending our arms out in front. And then swing our arms back, sending our one foot back. I'm going to send my right foot back. And then coming back into chair pose and sending your left foot back. So back to chair pose, arms go up, then arms come down and back, sending your foot back. Come back to chair pose, arm comes up, arms come down, sending your left foot back. And again, you can go as fast or as slow as you want. And this will work up some heat pretty quick fashion. Creating a nice airy movement. Go at your own pace, but maybe challenge yourself to get a little heat going. And slow it down so we can come back to our mountain pose. All right. We're going to sweep our hands up overhead, big inhale, and then exhale, coming down, forward fold, bending your knees, inhale to half forward fold, flat back, gaze goes down, and then exhale, forward fold, and sweeping your hands from the floor all the way up overhead. Hands come together, And then fingertips come to the back of your hips. Fingertips are pointing down. Feet are about hip width apart. Navel's tucked to your spine. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Chin is tucked to your chest. And just drop your shoulders back gently for supported back bend. Keeping your chin tucked toward your chest so your head does not drop back. Remember to breathe. And then inhale, come back up. How's everyone doing? Alrighty, so this is going to be a little bit more of a flow. So we're going to start with a mountain. Inhale, sweep our hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. I know what I wanted to say. It's kind of a riff on the sun salutation. So it'll create heat, but also following the sun salutation with little twists in it too. Hands come to your shins, half forward fold. Then bring your hands down to the mat. Extend both feet back into plank. We'll lift our right leg up and cross it over behind the left leg and touch it down on the floor. So it'll probably be a little bit off the mat, or you can just lift your leg up if the crossover's not comfortable. So we'll do that with the left side, lift up, cross over, lift up, come back, right foot, lift up, cross over, lift up, come back, and left, lift up, cross over, lift up, come back. And then chaturanga, either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga with your elbows tucked to your sides, on down to the mat. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders, gently push up into cobra. And then tuck your toes under and come up into downward dog. And we'll pedal out here for a moment in downward dog. And then we're going to bring our right knee to our right elbow. So inhale, bring the right knee to the right elbow, and then come back again, pedal out. Inhale, bring your knee to your elbow, and then back again, pedal out. And then we're going to bring the right foot between our hands into runner's lunge. So inhale, bring it up as best you can, guide it to the point where it's between your hands. Knees right over your ankle. Back leg is nice and straight and strong. The heel pushing back. And then place your left hand on the mat. Sweep your right hand up to the sky. Or runner's lunge with a twist. And bring your right hand back down. We're going to come into a high lunge. So you can either keep your toes tucked under and come up in two phases, one to your knee and then one up, keeping your knee bent and you're right over your ankle with your toes tucked. Or if this doesn't feel stable, you can pivot your back foot down so that you're in warrior one. We'll raise our arms up high, creating a little bit of a back bend. And then bring our arms down and to the back like airplane wings. And then lean forward into the wind, like you're a bird flying. And inhale, bring your arms back up, keeping your knee bent in a lunge position. And bring your arms down and back and lean into the wind. And then one last time, bringing your arms up. And then bring them down and back and lean into the wind. And then bring your hands back down to the mat. Send your right foot back, coming back into the plank position. And again, chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Gently come down to the mat. Bring your arms alongside you with your palms facing up. And we'll do locust. So we're going to lift, keeping our hip bones on the mat. Lift the right leg up and bring that back down. Lift the left leg up and bring that back down. And then we'll lift both legs and both arms up, full locust. And then bring those back down. Tuck your hands under your shoulders. Press up to cobra. Then up to tabletop and down for child's pose. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck your toes underneath. Coming into downward dog, lifting your hips up to the sky. Hands are spread apart. Arms are straight. Chest is reaching toward your thighs. Sending your hips up. And just pedal out here for a moment. And then we're going to slowly walk our feet up to our hands, coming into forward fold. And then inhale, sweeping our hands from the mat all the way up to the sky. Palms come together and palms come to heart center. And then the palms will come down alongside you, coming into mountain pose. We'll recheck the essentials of mountain pose. So our legs are straight and strong with a gentle bend in the knees, navel's tucked to the spine. Spine is nice and long and straight. Shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. Crown of the head's reaching up to the sky. And then we're going to step our left foot back just slightly, like what we were doing in the warm-ups, which will bend our right knee. And then we're going to pivot at our waist, leaning forward into the wind, sending our arms out behind us, and coming into airplane pose or modification of warrior three. Feel light and airy in this pose. Feel like you're a bird soaring through the air. And then come back down. And we'll do that on the other side. So inhale, sweeping our arms up overhead. Big inhale, big exhale. Forward fold, hands to the mat. Inhale, half forward fold, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, bringing the hands to the mat, sending both feet to the back of the mat, coming into plank. And then we'll lift our left leg up, cross it over, set it down on the right side of the mat, lift that back up, bring it back to the other foot. We'll do that on the other side, lift the right foot up, send it over, cross it over the left, touching down on the floor, and then back up and come back to plank. Once more, each side, left foot goes up, crossing over the right, touching down, and then lifting back up and coming back to plank. And the right foot goes up, crossing over the left, touching down, lifting up, and coming back to plank. And then chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin, down to the mat. With your hands underneath your shoulders, gently, lightly push up into cobra. Feel lightness. Try to feel as light as you can in this. And then tuck your toes under, come under into downward dog rather, and pedal out here for a moment. And then with our left leg, we're going to bring our left knee to our left elbow, and then back again, pedal out. Inhale, bring the left knee to the left elbow, and then back again, pedal out. And then bring our left foot all the way up between our hands, and you can guide it up there, coming into runner's lunge. So your left knee's over your left ankle, back leg is nice and strong. Plant your right hand down and sweep with your left hand from the mat all the way up to the sky, sending your gaze up with it. And then bring that left hand back down. We're going to go into high lunge. So you can do it in 2 stages. One, putting your hands on your knees, feel a little stable. And then come up to the high lunge. And again, you could pivot your back foot down. You need more stability. Raise our hands up to the sky, creating a little bit of a back bend. And then sweep our hands down and back, leaning forward into the wind. And inhale, come back up. Hands go up. And sweep them down and back, leaning into the wind. And one last time, sweep it, your hands up. I'm feeling the burn in my leg. And sweep your hands down and back. And then bring your hands down to the mat. Bring your left foot back to join your right, coming into plank pose. And then chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin, back down to the mat. Bringing your hands along the side. With your hips in contact with the mat, lift your right leg up, and then bring that back down. Lift your left leg up, and bring that back down. And then lift both legs and both arms for full locust. And then bring those down. Bring your fingertips underneath your shoulders. Push, gently push down, lifting up to cobra. And then continue that push to tabletop and then down to child's pose. Inhale, come back up. Tuck your toes under, come back up into downward dog. And pedal out here for a moment. Then gently walk your feet up to your hands, coming into the forward fold. And sweeping your hands from the mat all the way up overhead. Palms come together. Palms come to heart center. And then palms come down alongside your legs, coming into mountain pose. Again, mountain pose essentials. Straight, strong legs, gentle bend in your knees, navel's tucked to your spine, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. We're going to have our hands down alongside, sending our right foot back gently, and then creating a bend in the front knee on your left leg. And then we're going to pivot from the waist, sending our arms back and our right leg up into the sky, and start soaring like a bird. Crash bird. So if you're all set, you can come to the next pose. We'll bring our pinky toes out to the edge of the mat. Tuck our heels in at 45-degree angle. Bring our hands to our heart. Palms in Anjali Mudra. And then slowly lower our hips to the mat. Bringing our torso between our legs. Bringing our elbows inside our knees. Wide-legged squat. And then we'll bring our seat down and come into staff pose. Staff pose is sitting at 90-degree angle, so your back is nice and straight and tall. Toes are reaching up to the sky, flexing your feet. And then you bring your right foot to the outer side of your left leg. I'm going to wrap our left arm around our right knee, bringing our right hand in back of our hips. Nice straight spine for sage pose. And then bring both legs back to staff pose. Plant your left foot on the outer edge of your right knee. Wrap your right arm around your left leg, sending your left hand in back along your hips. If you want a little bit more twist, you can always bring your elbow on the outside of your knee and use that as a leverage and send your gaze over your left shoulder. That's really wringing it out. So that's gets into the detox conversation. And then bring yourself back. Get back to staff pose. Take your hands, create little fists, pushing down into the mat. Lift your hips off the mat and settle them back down. So you really feel your hips and soft cushion connecting with the mat. You bring your knees up, tuck your hands underneath your knees, and come up to balance, kind of floating in air, if you will, on your hip bones. And this is a half boat. So we're going to send one toe, right toe down to the mat and touch it, come back up. Send your left toe down to the mat and bring it back up. And send both toes down to the mat and lift them back up. So we'll do that again. Right toe comes down. And keep that back nice and straight. You may want to puff out your chest a little bit to make sure it's nice and straight. Lower the left toe down to the mat and back up, and then both toes down to the mat and back up. And if you want, you could try it with releasing your hands. So bring your hands alongside, right toe comes down, back up, left toe comes down, back up, both toes come down and back up, and then retuck your hands underneath and do that again. Right toe comes down, back up, left toe comes down, back up, both toes come down, back up. Release your hands, right toe comes down, left toe comes down, both toes come down and back up. And keeping your hands under your knees, right toe comes down, left toe comes down, both toes come down, back up. And one last time without our hands, right toe down, left toe down, and both toes down and back up. And let's roll down on our back. That's nice. And rock our back, lower back, back and forth. Just kind of give that a massage. And bringing our feet to the mat, bring the outer edge of your feet to the edges of the mat. And then we're going to bring our arms out at shoulder height. We're going to drop our knees to the right side of the mat. And this is windshield wiper. And then to add the somatic to it, we're going to turn our head to the right. Our right palm will be facing up, and our left palm on the other side is facing down. So we're going to then lift our legs back up, pointing to the sky, flip our hands, and then lower our legs to the left side of the mat. So our left palm is facing up to the sky. We're gazing at our left palm, and our right palm is facing down. So inhale, lift the legs back up, send them down to the right, flipping your hands, right palm's open, gazes to the right palm, left palm is down to the floor. And we'll keep going, just a nice smooth movement, windshield wiper back and forth, flipping our hands back and forth, sending our gaze back and forth. Nice, fluid, airy movement. And then when you're ready, come back to neutral position where your knees are up in the air, and then slide them down to the bottom of your mat and prepare for Shavasana. So bring your heels out to the corners of your mat, let your feet flop open and relax, just let go. Let your arms come out to the sides at an angle, the palms up, relax and let go. Have some nice deep inhales and deep exhales, just relaxing and letting go on each exhale. Today's poem is by Robert Frost, titled To the Thawing Wind. Come with rain, O loud southwester. Bring the singer, bring the nester. Give the buried flower a dream. Make the settled snowbank steam. find the brown beneath the white. But whatever you do tonight, bathe my window, make it flow, melt it as the ice will go. Melt the glass and leave the sticks like a hermit's crucifix. Burst into my narrow stall, swing the picture on the wall. Run the rattled pages o'er, scattered poems on the floor. Turn the poet out of door. So when you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Take a nice deep inhale, exhale, roll over to your favorite side, and slowly make your way back up to a seated position.